Hello, this is a GCSE Grade 3 revision video with a focus on finding the percentage change. We're going to start with some revision questions on a mix of topics and then run into some questions that focus on finding the percentage change. So question 1 on the revision questions, we have 2 wholes and 1/7, take away 2/3. First of all, we're going to change this first fraction so that it is an improper fraction. So we know we've got 2 times 7, 14/7 in the 2 wholes, and then we've got this extra one. So altogether, we've got 15/7, and then we're going to take away 2/3. We need the denominators to be the same, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by 3 on the first fraction and multiply top and bottom by 7 on the second fraction. This gives us 45 over 21, take away 14 over 21. This will give us 31 over 21, which is the same as 1 whole and 10 over 21. The second revision question asks us to round 0.003081 to 2 significant figures. So if we look at our number, the first significant figure is the first non-zero digit. So that's our first significant figure, and this is our second significant figure, meaning that this 8 is the digit that decides what's happening. And as it's more than 5, we're going to round this 0 up to 1. So our answer is 0.0031. Question 3 on the revision questions is -5 times by -3. And we know that when we have 2 negatives multiplied together, our answer is going to be positive. And so we're just looking at 5 times 3, so the answer is 15. Question 4 tells us to place in descending order the numbers 0.51, 0.509, 0.482 and 0.6. When we're ordering decimal numbers, some people find it helpful to make sure that all of the numbers have the same number of digits after the decimal point. And we do this by placing a 0 on the end to make them have the same number of digits. Now we have 3 digits after the decimal point on all of the numbers. And now we need to put them in descending order, which means we're going to start with the biggest number. So 0.600 is the biggest, which was 0.6. The next biggest is the 0.510, so 0.51. And then we have 0.509. And finally, 0.482. Question 5 asks us to write 5.07 kilometres in metres. And we know 1 kilometre is the same as 1,000 metres. So we need to do 5.07 times 1,000, which will give us 5,070 metres. Question 6 tells us to find all the prime numbers that are between 10 and 20. So if we look at all of the numbers between 10 and 20, we need to consider which numbers have more than 1 and themselves as their factors. So first of all, we can remove all of the even numbers because they will have 1 and itself and a factor of 2. So 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20 can be removed. We can also remove 15 as we know that this is in the 5 times table as well as 1 and 15. This leaves us with 11, which we know we can only get by doing 1 times 11. 13, which we can only get by doing 1 times 13. 17, which we can only find by doing 1 times 17. And 19, which also we can only get to by doing 1 times 19. So they are our prime numbers. This is question 7, and it asks us to simplify the ratio 4.2 to 2.4. The first thing we need to do is multiply both sides by 10. And this is so we don't have decimal numbers anymore. So this becomes 42 to 24. Next, we need to think of the highest common factor of both 42 and 24. So the biggest number we can divide both numbers by, which is 6. And this will give us 7 to 4. If you struggle to find that 6 is the biggest number we can divide both sides by, you can do it in 2 steps and divide by 2, which then you would divide by 3 and you would get to the same answer. This is question 8, and we're asked to find the mode. And the mode is the average that is looking at the observation that happens the most often. So we've got the mo. And for this one, it is the number 5. Question 9, we're asked to simplify 4x squared times by 3x. We can look at the numbers first. So we've got 4 times 3 is 12. And then we look at the letters. So we've got x squared times x. And we know that's x cubed. So our answer, once we simplify this, will be 12x cubed. And finally, our 10th question on the revision questions is, what does 5 to the power 4 mean? This little floaty 4 is a power, and it's just telling us how many times we're going to see 5 times 2 itself. So 5 to the power 4 is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. The second part of this revision video is looking at working out the percentage change. So we've got 2 questions to walk through. So the first question tells us in 2015, a school had 250 students. In 2016, the school had 280 students. And we're asked to work out the percentage increase from 2015 to 2016. So first of all, we want to find out what the increase is. So our increase is going from 250 to 280. So we increase by 30 students. We also want to pull out what the original value is. So our original value is that we're going from 2015. So the original number of students is 280. 250. So to find the percentage increase, we're looking at the increase in students, which is 30, over the original value, which is 250. And if we use the calculator to convert that into a decimal, and we can do 30 divided by 250, then we will get 0.12. And we can see that to convert that into a percentage, we times it by 100, which will give us 12%. So this is the topic where we convert between fraction, decimal, and percentage. The second question tells us a hoodie cost £35 in a sale. Its original price was £45, and we're asked to work out the percentage saving. So first of all, we need to find the decrease in the price. So we're decreasing from 45 to 35. So the change in price is £10. And the original price was £45. So our percentage saving so we look at the change in price, so we had a decrease of £10 over the original price of 45. If we put that into the calculator and do 10 divided by 45, we will get 0.22 rounded to 2 decimal places. And to convert that from a decimal to a percentage, we times it by 100, which will give us 22%. I hope you found that helpful.